considering all these facts regarding mainstream media, how we are acknowledged literally as spammers, which translates into garbager, trasher, or troll, which is equals to idiot, while having really trashers and spammers flood a newspaper sub-comment sections in order to confuse the world, and not only world, but foremost their own population on issues for what is taking place, per whom and how and why. I think it's a grandeur of anarchism. I think it's a grandeur of liberalism. We have not witnessed anything like this yet throughout the history of humankind, but the principles pretty much are the same as if you're watching Turbo Jew Alex Jones. His program also is flooded with human rights issues continuously. You also have that same principle: human rights, human rights, human rights, human rights, and blaming it all on Nazis. Blaming it all on Nazis, and even mention what is a word, or I should say term, a new world order. New world order, keep in mind what is new world order. World of Anonymous, sure, that's deeply appreciated. I mean, you're being discreet, using confidentiality about white genocide project since World War II that is taking place against you and your fellows, your own people. That's deeply appreciated. I mean, if you can be just discreet about it as much as possible, that's appreciated. And yeah, if you could also not use your computer, or if you use the computer, then you have to think about where you click and what link you click also, not only being anonymous, because hey man, it's nice for you to be anonymous about what is taking place against you, because it's good for those that want to get rid of you, or those who know everything you do and you know who that is, NSA, USA. Really, 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 really is appreciated. Nobody will ever know why you have disappeared, what have happened to you, or I should say why have happened to you. So anonymous definitely is really, really appreciated. And if you can like an Alex Jones show, or I should say Assange, WikiLeaks and all that stuff, just worry about the human rights. Okay, just worry about the human rights, and especially be aware of this rednecks, soldiers, police officers and stuff like that. I mean, if stuff like this get exposed, like video camera being mistaken for a weapon.
Pilots with the U.S. Army saw as they flew over eastern Baghdad on July 12, 2007. A group of people walking. Included in that group, 2 employees for Reuters news service, 40-year-old Saeed Shmam and 22-year-old Namir Noor al-Din. Namir was considered one of the best photojournalists in Iraq. Their names were added to the video here by WikiLeaks for clarity as they carry their cameras, not what the pilots think they saw.
Hotel 26 is Crazy Horse 18, have individuals with weapons.
Moments later, they're attacked.
Light them all up. Come on, fire!
From a helicopter, that person should be, persecuted, in jail for the rest of his life, her life. Like for instance, all that British soldiers also got in trouble because he shot the person in situation, really tense situation where you don't know are you gonna get blow up or not. Somebody's gonna come and blow you up and stuff like that. When bullets are flying, if you happen to be in the army, don't shoot back, okay? Just really make sure that camera that you have on your forehead or whatever, they put one in your ass, make sure that that you video the whole thing. And then, if, I don't know, you really should still think about that. Because who knows? I mean, then you have a homosexual like Chelsea Manning coming forward and promoting what again are human rights, right? And as you are people are brainwashing this human rights. You never know what's going to happen to you. That bullet doesn't kill you. Chelsea is going to get you. The average mentality in America is going to get you. And if you really want to earn some extra points, with this human rights and stuff, then just go out there. It's very important that you target a white police officer, a redneck, if only possible. Yeah, redneck. Oh man, these rednecks, and get his car, find a car, and blast that window. Just go and smash that window on the car and wait for him to come to arrest you, and have someone film the whole event. Resist and scream that your human rights are being violated. Man, that's gonna get you like a few thousand points on Alex Jones' show, Turbo Jew show, or let's say Turbo Jew, let's say Adam Kokesh, the anarchist Adam Kokesh also is a Jew. He also has this very prominent leading role in anarchism of United States of America. It's all about human rights. The human rights are, how would I say, the human rights really are extremely important. And the more that your perception in the public is that the Nazis are doing it all, the more that a real 70 years old white genocide project will be taking place against you. You see how easy that is? So that Jew, the Turbo Jew, Alex Jones, is promoting something else and not really human rights issues. He is promoting what is white genocide. He is promoting what is genocide against you. It will be such situation for as long as you are, and this you got to be very careful with. Please, people, remember this. Will be so and such will be ignoring your news for as long as it is not convenient for them. Yeah. Once it becomes convenient for them, you will no longer be ignored, and they, trust me, will hurry. They will rush with the news that goes along well with their what is white genocide project, 70 years old news. Therefore, what I'm trying to suggest is that you will not be judged according to what have taken place against you, and it doesn't matter for how long and to what degree crime will be taking place against you. In my case, as I stated, that's 7 years, but you will be judged according to your last action, okay, to your reaction to what took place against you. This is so-called free press or mainstream media, or maybe the second tool, white genocide project tool that is used. Folks, Obama is just a little clown. He's just a little Negro clown, which they believe that we will concern ourselves with, that we will just avoid what they would want us not to see, and what they would not want us to see is something that concerns them directly for the last 70 years. Also important to remember is perhaps that, well, I'm not allowed to post on YouTube. As you know, they have even hijacked my account and have done that for like blocked me from logging in my account for like 6 months, and on what they have had one shut down, literally. Amazing. That was on YouTube. They would not shut down one at my request, but they were deliberately logged in my account for 6 months, and seems like they were collecting or waiting for some kind of information, something, whatever. Incredible. Factual, with what was, I believe, 77 videos at the time in 2012, I believe. Your videos, as I have suggested and explained and proven, will be no longer you will obviously, if you will be lucky, get what would be a second option like I did, daily motions. It's not that fancy, but you should expect not only to have less views as per quality of the videos itself. What also will happen is, as you can see, they will also block your view counters insanely, and they will be using this to suggest you that nobody see you, that you are irrelevant, that you should just quit, that you are failing all the way, that you're wrong most of the time, of course. Oh, it is also used during your forced hospitalization, for which excuse schizophrenia is used, to not only during hospitalization alone, but in post-hospitalization, when they allow themselves to harass more, to intimidate more, to continually suggest you that it's all in your head, that nobody knows about you, that you are unseen. It's continually suggested to you that, oh, he also have a website, when they in reality know for every project, for everything you do, they want, as soon as you release one, okay, few minutes later, they already are watching those videos insanely. This is the reality. In India and China, there are about 3 billion people. How many government workers do you think are watching my videos at 300 miles an hour? That's only in China and India, I have stated, not in Britain, France, Italy, and so on, which is of great interest to people to know about what's going on. The undermining attempt to undermine you, to continually undermine you, is the way for them to go. But at the beginning of this video, you were able to see that, that plane goes above the clouds. In this case, this is no longer an option for them. As you will be continue watching this video, you will see exactly what I mean by that.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order can emerge, a new era, freer from the threat of terror, stronger in the pursuit of justice, and more secure in the quest for peace. An era in which the nations of the world, East and West, North and South, can prosper and live in harmony. 100 generations have searched for this elusive path to peace, while 1,000 wars raged across the span of human endeavor. And today that new world is struggling to be born. A world quite different from the one we've known. A world where the rule of law supplants the rule of the jungle. A world in which nations recognize the shared responsibility for freedom and justice. A world where the strong respect the rights of the weak.
You remember when I told you that United Nations, Amnesty International, International Criminal Court for ICC, European Court for Human Rights, American Courts for Human Rights, and so on, commissions were not created for your sake, but for the sake of the third world, to be protected from you? Do you remember that?
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Do you remember when I have told you how the United Nations, Norwegians especially, due to the communist self-elected king Harald of Norway, especially were involved in this case. The United Nations, the Amnesty International, how they have stalked me, abducted me, threatened me with lobotomy, had gypsies coming in Miami in the store to threaten me with lobotomy, all that stuff that was done. Do you remember when I was talking to you about this? But at the same time suggesting me that it is thanks to them that I'm still alive. Do you remember from my videos? No, I did not lie to you. It's actually is happening, okay? For the last 70 years, this is how it goes. All that paranoia, all that stuff that they have implanted in my head, all that stuff, driving people insane, to silence people, the White Genocide Project since World War II, paranoia to have people discredit themselves. It's real, folks. White Genocide Project is much more real than what you can imagine. And after the 9/11, especially after 9/11, the internet was flooded with all kinds of garbage that suggested how people are mind controlled through radio waves and just, I would say, paranoia on steroids. But when it comes to issues such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, split personality disorder, and I don't know what kind of other bullshit they came up with, or invented, I should say, in order to suggest people that it is better than to search for the work just for them to come up, you know, just to claim how they suffer from one of those diseases. They literally have suggested people how they should just go and visit physicians and suggest them all that kinds of stuff.
This had a very severe and traumatic impact on a majority of the population. I myself cried for weeks after September 11th. A friend of mine who is a psychologist in practice here in Boulder said that her caseload increased tremendously after 9/11, and people that she hadn't seen in 10 years were coming back into her practice. So I think it's safe to say that collectively as a nation, because of what happened on September 11th, we experienced trauma.
Just a fast input. Especially, and I mean especially after 9/11, a job search my personal job search ended with basically my having Shibuns, Negroes in Miami Downtown's agency for employment, workforce and innovation agency, Obama agency. Agency where I was literally suggested by Michelle Obama that people like myself, she would just wipe from the face of earth. Have Shibuns, Negroes, to suggest me, continually suggest me that when I came for work, for the job, after 9/11, in job search, that the job search pretty much ended now. That what I should do is that I should just go visit physician and just tell them that I suffer from depression, and that would help me with what would be early retirement. Something that have had, in fact, appealed to other people. For the government agencies, investigators, yeah, I claim that people that were related to that agency, that people that have paid visitation to that agency, that many of them ended actually white people, American white people, ended up coming up forward with this kind of claims and have settled for antidepressants and such. I, on the other hand, that stuff never appealed to me. I did not even know what they were the hell talking about. In fact, I did know what they were talking about because years ahead already, it was oftentimes like discussions how to retire fast, they would brainwash literally people. Obviously, if they have done to me, then they must have done to other people as well. How to retire fast, how to retire young and such. And they would suggest that if you would suffer, you know, from depression and such thing, that you could retire fast. Yeah, in other words, you would go to physician and then tell physician that you suffer from depression and such and so. So after 9/11, Shibones, Negroes came up to me with the idea, here's your opportunity. This is your opportunity. Now, after 9/11, yeah, now you can go and you can do that. Whoa, I was asked on million times afterwards if I suffer from depression during the job interviews. I never did. The stuff that I have gone through, nobody ever, and I mean nobody could ever gone through if person suffered from depression. Yet they have completely suggested that, and as I have mentioned that on the blogs, Eastern European communist scum, Moscow, Ljubljana, Che Guevara's from so-called Slovenia, Serbs, pro-Serbian communist, pro-Yugoslav scum from here. I have a neighbor here in Novo Mesto, 1 block away, Igor Kotar. That's that communist trash, human waste, 5 foot tall with about 300 pounds that you were able to see on videos. Was, among others, in 2006, upon my return back to home, just as I have described in my blogs, started to suggest me cures for unfunded diseases. One of his main concern was depression. Do you suffer from depression? You don't understand. They have you. And I was, what are you talking about? Who? What are you talking about? Psychiatrists, psychologists, depression and all that stuff, they have murdered, especially American white people. And I'm talking about Shibones or Hispanics, Latinos, never got to any depression issues and such. Whites, on the other hand, they did. And especially those that were, when deployed overseas in wars for the sake of Israel, if they were not killed or wounded, many of them were subdued with the drugs, antidepressants and stuff. And I believe that many missions, that the whole mission was really nothing else than deployment of white American people to eat them out, to destroy the nation entirely. That's what the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan was for the sake of Israel.
People started to be fearful. With all those rumors, those news, people didn't know what to think about. And it's a very uncomfortable state to be in. And eventually our mind shuts off. Just like when a computer is overloaded, our minds get overloaded. We can't handle it anymore and we shut down.
That all stuff is much more real and alive than what you could ever possibly give credit for, folks. This is what the United Nations, what the human rights are there for.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future. And now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. In the words of Winston Churchill, a world order in which the principles of justice and fair play protect the weak against the strong. A world where the United Nations, freed from Cold War stalemate, is poised to fulfill the historic vision of its founders.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th, malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty. Conspiracy theories
conspiracy theories.
Well, that's exactly why I have suggested what I have suggested previously, that Barack Obama, Negro Shibun, Barack Obama, is nothing else than a clown of 70 years old news, used to, to distract attention from what should have been our main concern, and that is 70 years old white genocide project. The same as what 9/11 was. In fact, the criminals, the parasites, are so confident in this white genocide project since World War II that they don't even have any problem blowing the building in front of your eyes, Twin Towers, below the whole World Trade Center and buildings and other buildings, and literally laugh in your face like Bush did. It was pretty much telling you, American, the whole world, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Laughing, literally laughing in your face, because he feels that he can get away with anything he wants to get away with. And at that point, or I should say when accelerated genocide against white race takes place, as it did after 9/11, 9/11 was used to compel and force joblessness American people at large, and also other whites worldwide. It was used to destroy everyone around Israel, and that foremost was concerning what was Iraq. Iraq was #1 supplier of weapons to Lebanese, to Palestinian people, occupied territories by Israel. So they were able to give some resistance to Jews. So they had to go down. That was like a major concern. And all the way then to Afghanistan, to basically destabilize entire area. And the wars afterwards follow all the way to Libya. Everywhere around Israel, Syria, all those countries became destabilized, and it was all in the name war on terror. All in the name war on terror. Basically, going back to 9/11, so confident that they did not have any problem laughing, alertly laughing in your face and admitting that they in fact have done 9/11. Now, why the hell would they also go as far as doing that kind of stuff? It's very, very easy. I don't know. You remember in video 101 when I have suggested you that once you start to exposing what is taking place against you, it's always important for you to state the date when your case started, or all the way in the beginning to your case. In my case, that was since year 2007 when I complained to this human rights courts and so on. You're getting preoccupied and concerned about 9/11 actually really helps them also to get your attention away from what you already know is taking place against you for the last 70 years.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Barack Obama, President of the United States of America, and invite him to address the Assembly. Mr. President.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Each year, we come together to reaffirm the founding vision of this institution. For most of recorded history, individual aspirations were subject to the whims of tyrants and empires. Divisions of race and religion and tribe were settled through the sword, and the clash of armies. The idea that nations and peoples could come together in peace to solve their disputes and advance a common prosperity seemed unimaginable. It took the awful carnage of 2 world wars to shift our thinking. The leaders who built the United Nations were not naive. They did not think this body could eradicate all wars. But in the wake of millions dead and continents in rubble, and with the development of nuclear weapons that could annihilate a planet, they understood that humanity could not survive the course it was on. So they gave us this institution, believing that it could allow us to resolve conflicts, enforce rules of behavior, and build habits of cooperation that would grow stronger over time. So they gave us this institution, believing that it could allow us to resolve conflicts, enforce rules of behavior, and build habits of cooperation that would grow stronger over time. The question is whether we possess the wisdom and the courage, as nation states and members of an international community, to squarely meet those challenges. Whether the United Nations can meet the tests of our time. And for much of my tenure as president, some of our most urgent challenges have revolved around an increasingly integrated global economy and our efforts to recover from the worst economic crisis of our lifetime. Just as significantly, the convulsions in the Middle East and North Africa have laid bare deep divisions within societies, as an old order is upended and people grapple with what comes next.
It's a stealth operation.
I mean, I used to say the UN complex, it was like going into the Twilight Zone.
The majority of the countries that are members of the UN and who think the UN is just a wonderful entity, that it's something that we should listen to, they are not democracies.
I'm sitting up there and I'm looking out, and there I see the Sudan, and I see Cuba, and I see Syria, and I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding me. You're gonna come into our country and try to eliminate our constitutional right to own a firearm? Dream on. We Americans are not gonna let that happen.
But the UN feels more empowered than ever to get its global arms trade treaty passed, now that President Obama has dramatically reversed U.S. policy and signed on as a partner in the UN's mission to trample our firearm freedoms.
The United States stands ready to begin a new chapter of international cooperation.
Now, the UN remains the single most important global institution.
So how critical a situation is right now for United States of America, it's extremely, extremely critical. If Shibun, a Negro Shibun of Shibuns, nigger Obama, homosexual Shibun could possibly confiscate, obtain those weapons from Americans, from you Americans, you would already have what is ape law. You would already have Shibuns. You would be thrown in FEMA camps, so-called FEMA camps, and have apes literally aiming you at you with weapons, with guns, behind the wire, concentration camps.
And I joined with Dick's Sporting Goods store, and I'm personally just say to those who are listening, maybe you want to turn in your guns. And I'm personally just say to those who are listening, maybe you want to turn in your guns. And I'm personally just say to those who are listening, maybe you want to turn in your guns.
Maybe. Just maybe. Maybe you want to turn in your guns. Maybe. Be nice, America. Come on. Maybe. Oh no. I am not gonna take your guns. Oh no, not at all. Oh, by the way, she looks on Alex Jones on the Benjamin Netanyahu's show. She definitely looks like a Nazi. You see? She's a Nazi.
Oh no, I'm not gonna take your guns. But look at what Dick's Sporting Goods did. In the moment They wanted to be part of the solution and a part of America. Let us mourn with action. And I'm personally just say to those who are listening, maybe you want to turn in your guns. And I'm personally just say to those who are listening, maybe you want to turn in your guns. And I'm personally just say to those who are listening, maybe you want to turn in your guns.
Okay, so you don't want to turn your guns. You don't want to turn in your guns. You don't want to do this. You don't want to be nice, America. You don't want to do this.
It is not the truth to suggest that there are not enough voters, members of Congress, that would vote right now today to open this government. It's something called a continuing resolution, but it's a bill that you put on the floor that has been passed already by Republicans and Democrats in the United States Senate. This is not an idea of anyone over another person. Republican and Democratic senators have already voted for this clean bill, for this clean bill, for this clean bill that we could vote on today. We have martial law. What that means, and my colleagues know what it means, is that you can put a bill on in just minutes. For this clean bill, martial law, what that means, and my colleagues know what it means, for this clean bill, the martial law, what that means, and my colleagues know what it means, martial law, what that means, and my colleagues know what it means.
Just as the same situation does have taken place in what is today Israel. What used to be once Lebanon, Palestine, have grown over time into Israel. And the engineer for the FEMA camps in the United States of America, which is nothing else than the same recipe as the one that have taken previously place already in Israel, or what is today Israel, known as Israel, is nobody else than Benjamin Netanyahu. It is Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel, the one that have supplied Barack Obama with FEMA camp plans, with a FEMA plan to turn United States of America into a FEMA camps. Considering parasite Jew Alex Jones, leech, Benjamin Netanyahu's leech, personal leech implanted in America, him depicting to America about FEMA camps coming. What worse could have been situation for United States of America than what it is, considering the fact that FEMA camps in fact are coming, but because of this leech, because of this Benjamin Netanyahu's leech, Alex Jones, people will not know, or rather are now confused per why these FEMA camps are coming. What worse the situation could be? What good is it for you to know that you're going to go down, that is coming, but at the same time not knowing, being unsure why or who is taking you down? What good is that to you? And that's exactly what Alex Jones did. United States of America, look, would have been in 10 times better situation without Alex Jones, if it were not for Alex Jones, than what it is now. If America is going to go down, if America would go down, America would go down because of exactly what I have stated the most have taken place. And that's exactly because of this so-called alternative news media, or Alex Jones alone. Zionist, Jewish, Israeli Benjamin Netanyahu leech is what it is. It's a parasite, the worst accident ever that have taken place against the United States of America. And I mean, when it comes to the worst of the worst catastrophe that have happened to the United States of America ever. You can do whatever the hell you want to do to the people, as long as you have someone like Alex Jones blaming it all on basically on them. Huh? In fact, the more you do to the people that become over time completely confused about what is taking place, not what is taking place against them anymore, but why is taking place, the better you are off. And that's, like I've stated, it's all because of Alex Jones. Alex Jones really is a joker. He is the number one. He wants you dead, America. Alex Jones is a terrorist. Just as I have suggested, he have plotted 9/11. He is involved in 9/11 plot, and he was involved in other terrorist plots. Nothing could be worse than Alex Jones. The people that are there, they're saying they are not what they claim to be as. They are really nothing else than American Al-Qaeda. Ron Paul, all others, they're just confusing you on issue of 70 years old news, the White Genocide Project, because they damn know that at one point you will break out. So that last chance, that last stroke that they can hold on to would be on issue where you're being confused about who have done it, why have done it all. That's about the only thing, the last branch that Ron Paul and others are holding on to it. And this is the truth about so-called democracy, which I already have greatly exposed. I'm just reminding you of that. And why was Benjamin Netanyahu so effective destroying the United States of America? Why was Benjamin Netanyahu so effective? Because it was not only for Alex Jones. Alex Jones was just a joker in this whole game. But behind it all, it was twist-minded world of psychiatry. I mean, the stuff that was going on, the stuff that went on was just incredible. I mean, you gotta see this for yourself. Psychiatrists, psychologists, the military, the army of psychiatrists, psychologists, just as I have suggested.
In the aftermath of the terrorist attack on September 11th, when President Bush went before the Congress in 2002, he defined the axis of evil, meaning Iran, Iraq, and North Korea.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world.
Axis was such a loaded word, however, because the Axis powers in World War II had been Italy and Germany and Japan. The idea that the world was now divided into Axis powers and Allied powers seemed to suggest a war coming on, which indeed was the truth.
It is both our responsibility and our privilege to fight freedom's fight.
Bush? You mean the hook-nosed Jew by the name Bush? No, he didn't mean axis of power, of powers of the World War II. Of course not. It was just, Iraq, North Korea, Al-Qaeda, and such. Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't. Well, maybe, but no, I mean, no way. The psychiatrists have cleared that doubt out of the way for you. So she did that for you to understand that there was a little bit hard word that would be like anti-white, but she totally made it understandable for everybody that that's not the case. Although some of them over there have understood that differently, as you were able to see. Very important now, people. Listen to this, what I had to say. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Again, pay attention to this, or you will shoot yourself. Okay? Pay attention to what I have to say right now. One of the major point in this video, very much. So it was for war on terror, right? That's what he said. It was for war on terror. He just mentioned axis of evil, but mainly it was for the war on terror. It was not for 70-year-old news or what is White Project. It was for war on terror. Correct? This is what the Jew, hook-nosed Jew said? That's what it was? Is it possible by any chance that the hook-nosed Jew had something else parallel going? Or I should say under the ground, you know, the stuff that I have just suggested, some of the people have understood a little bit differently. Did by any chance hook-nosed Jew, who got the instructions for 70-year-old White Genocide Project from Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel, did he had going something else behind it all? Was it some other war that he launched as well, parallel to this one? Did he? Did he compare Al-Qaeda, Mid-Eastern Arabs, with whites, with the white nationalists? Huh. Did he? Yeah, it's a question not for $1 million, but for everything or nothing. Psychiatrists quickly cleared that out for him that it was not the case. They made damn sure that everywhere that video would appear, that it would be very, very clear to everybody that absolutely was not intended to be anti-white. But was it truth?
We are here in the middle hour of our grief. So many have suffered so great a loss, and today we express our nation's sorrow. We come before God to pray for the missing and the dead. Why do they hate us? They hate what they see right here in this chamber, a democratically elected government. They hate our freedoms, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, our freedom to vote and assemble and disagree with each other. We have seen their kind before. They are the heirs of all the murderous ideologies of the 20th century. By sacrificing human life to serve their radical visions, by abandoning every value except the will to power, they follow in the path of fascism, Nazism, and totalitarianism. And they will follow that path all the way to where it ends, in history's unmarked grave of discarded lies. Freedom and fear are at war. The advance of human freedom, the great achievement of our time and the great hope of every time, now depends on us. Our nation, this generation, will lift a dark thread of violence from our people and our future. We will not tire. We will not falter.
Again, I was on television saying that bin Laden's a CIA asset and looks like he'll attack New York. Again, I was on television saying that bin Laden's a CIA asset and looks like he'll attack New York. Saying, call Washington, tell him to call off the attack. Saying, call Washington, tell him to call off the attack.
Alex Jones predicted 9/11 have appeared on TV. For something I did not know. Not that I would not know that he is involved, or I should say that he was involved in 9/11 all the way. Because my testimony to you was more than just credential. It was factual as factual testimony can ever be. But it was just lately, just recently, by coincidence, that I somehow have found this video, which is confirming my claims, pretty much confirming what I have stated to you, that Alex Jones knew about 9/11, how 9/11, not only how 9/11 will take place, but he, in fact, was deeply involved in 9/11 all the way. This is something I have claimed to you. But it's something that, just as I have stated, have found recently to literally point you out the video. It's also something, obviously, that I feel that beside other issues that I'm about to talk to you about, that, if I would just go out there and just claim some kind of nonsense like this, accuse people of stuff that they would not be involved in it, probably would be really either pronounced as an insane or incarcerated, if not both even. But yeah, there are some other issues beside my pointing out to you this very video right now, which totally confirms my claims from the past, that he in fact was involved, not only 9/11, but also other terror plots. And this is the second part of this video that I like you to pay attention to. Okay? If I have made myself the first point that made this video, this is the second one that you want to pay attention to. And what I want you to pay attention to is not only him appearing himself on a TV and predicting 9/11, which is totally confirming everything I have stated, but actually further. This is the, pay attention, America, pay attention to what I have to say right now. Please pay attention to this. Alex Jones calling off terror attack. Yeah? He appears on TV and he's saying, stop, attack is going to take place. We know attack is going to take place. Obviously, a little bit much more than just we know the attack is going to take place. But he is saying, stop the attack. Attack is going to take place. We know that attack is going to take place. Wow, man. To me personally, every intelligence service, government plot agency, terror plot agency, would, under those circumstances, stop the terror attack. So, damn it, what made this agency, United States of America government agency, just proceed with it? What was it that made just made them go through with it? What was it that gave them a credentials, or I should say guarantee, beyond what would be under normal circumstances a doubt, a green light to Benjamin Netanyahu to go on with it? What was it? Because we'll know that for 9/11, government is blamed for, according to Alex Jones and according to me as well. Self-elected government, according to me, 70 years old news, but according to Alex Jones, Nazis. So what was it beyond shot of a doubt that had Benjamin Netanyahu, in fact, insist on 9/11 bombing event even more so? What exactly was it? What exactly was it? Let's keep in mind that Alex Jones never said that Nazis did 9/11, but he insisted, insisted, that it was always for the terrorist activities Nazis to be blamed for. And everything in the world, Nazis to be blamed for. So, are you ready? I hope you did pay attention to that. Alex Jones says, stop the attack. We know attack is going to happen. Interesting part, I will repeat again myself. How come the hell they did not stop with it when they knew that Alex Jones was the star? Well, that's already one of the things that makes Alex Jones a star, right? That's already something that places Alex Jones amongst the stars. It already places the highlight on him. It already lightens him up. He already is, wow, man. He almost reached for the stars. He almost grabbed God for the balls. But a huge mistake. What he did was he grabbed himself for the balls. He grabbed his own boss, Benjamin Netanyahu, for the balls. Because 9/11 was job of Benjamin Netanyahu. And I have proves beyond a doubt. Luckily not myself. Other people will get involved in it, political parties based overseas in Europe. And it is something that have had intelligence services, agencies, in a position that they were not able to just act against me the way they would want, because proofs were in hands of way too many people, and they're about to surface now to confirm my claims. Two claims: that Benjamin Netanyahu was an architect of 9/11 event, and that Alex Jones is really nothing else than Benjamin Netanyahu's agent. Nothing more than that.
Again, I was on television saying that bin Laden's a CIA asset and looks like he'll attack New York. Saying, call Washington, tell him to call off the attack. Saying, call Washington, tell him to call off the attack.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad that you could join us today for this Wednesday, July 25th, 2001 broadcast. Tyranny is enveloping the globe, and the United States is a shining jewel the globalists want to bring down, and they will use terrorism as the pretext to get it done. So that's coming up in the second half of the show. Very important information. I'm going to put the call out that you call the White House and tell them, look, we've seen the news stories that you've wanted to blow things up, that you have blown things up, and that you're saying that 4 million of us are going to die and we need martial law and the Associated Press.
Martial law, what that means, and my colleagues know what it means.
One of your little drills you had, and that we're aware of who the terrorists are if you pull this. This can stop this Hitlerian Reichstag event. I want to put the toll-free number up for Congress. And I won't want you to believe Alex Jones. I want you to go get these news stories off my website. I want you to call these major newspapers. I want you to find out these statements were true by the White House about preparing for martial law. And I want you to let them know that if there is any terrorism, we know who to blame. The point is, if any terrorism comes, it's from this government. And if there was an outside threat like a bin Laden, who was a known CIA asset in the 80s, running the Mujahideen war, and whose family builds all the military bases over in Saudi Arabia right now, and sits on the board of Iridium Satellite, he's the boogeyman they need in this Orwellian phony system. I want the White House numbers up there now. A big part of this solution, after you research all the government terrorism and check out what I'm saying is true, call the White House and tell them, we know the government's planning terrorism. We know Oklahoma City and World Trade Center was terrorism. We know the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted to blow up airliners, Baltimore Sun. If you do it, we're going to blame you because we know who's up to it. Or if you let some terrorist group do it, like the World Trade Center, we know who to blame. And you could save the planet. I'm calling it Operation Expose the Government Terror.
Do you know who this man is?
So stand by. We're live and at large and around the world. Hi everybody, you are looking live at the Panasonic Astrovision camera, the famed screen overlooking Times Square, New York, and we are a block away at the Fox News World headquarters on 6th Avenue. Musical, just a couple of blocks uptown from Fox World headquarters.